Mike Ryan mentioned Jake Paul, who is now ranked. He's ranked 14th. He's beaten no one, and he's ranked 14th, and he will probably get a title fight based on nothing more than it will draw dollars.
The WBA has ranked him 14th in the cruiserweight division. If you're ranked even as low as 14, you are able to schedule a title fight and for it to be ordained by the WBA. And that's probably got to be the next evolution here.
Is that what's next up, that he's going to get a shot?
Because if he actually tries to climb the ladder on the rankings, he's going to get his ass kicked. And I think he needs to go straight to the top of the mountain. The WBA has opened that portal, and I really think that's the only thing that's left for this. Jake Paul, what has it been, 8 years of this? Of him doing this thing? It's a good run.
You say... you'd be right in saying that Jake Paul, his ascent, is one of the most unusual stories in boxing. But to me, almost as surprising as the entirety of that story is that it didn't get derailed when he lost.
It's weird, right? It's weird. He lost to a guy that was probably the toughest test in terms of age and boxing acumen. He lost, and then he just kept being successful. I don't know if it's as successful. Certainly with the Mike Tyson thing, that was a huge bonanza.
Mike, that represents the greatest of the successes. Fighting live on Netflix against Tyson represents him arriving at the greatest of his successes after losing a fight.
People have to be reminded that he lost that fight. That was one of the rare fights that was just on ESPN Plus. They sweep that one under the rug.
Tommy Fury is how good? How good?
I got no idea how good any of these celebrity types or boxing adjacent anybody that fights Jake Paul is. I really don't. I have no way of knowing. They don't really have other people to fight against. The guy that he just beat lost to Anderson Silva a couple of fights ago, not in an MMA fight, in a boxing fight, and Anderson Silva is hella old. So I thought the conversation that we were having when we were on ESPN, that is, if Jake Paul loses, man, this whole thing is done, so he needs to choose wisely. He lost, and then he just went right back to the old parlor tricks
He's ranked.
I don't know how this continues to work.
All right, but the part that you're surprised about is that people are still interested, right? Like, that's what you're surprised about.
Not that people are still interested.
Because what else is there to be surprised about?
That the whole thing continues to ride along as if he's a great boxer. Because
it's just money. That's all it is.
No, but if you're ranked 14th in the world, you've been legitimized by those rankings more than you have been by anything you've done in your career so far in boxing. Those rankings, no matter what you think of boxing, making him someone who is in a weight class, one of the top 15 fighters in the world, brings him to a space he does not merit. It's all attention-based. It's all based on dollars he will bring in. It's all marketing. He absolutely does not merit being one of the top 15 fighters in his weight class. He's only there because of the amount of fame his name
I'm just
has.
happy for an evolution on this, because now the talking point when it comes to Jake Paul, he had the sideshow attraction with Mike Tyson, which largely the concern was, is Mike Tyson going to die? Because, hell, Mike Tyson almost died in training for that fight. Now the talking point for Jake Paul is, this is kind of getting old, right? No one's really watching these fights anymore.
Is it, though? Mike, I don't know. Mike, I don't think you can say that, Mike.
I don't know who, they had the Club World Cup's going on with the Zone, so maybe more eyes got to this fight. He has his legion of fans. I get that, but I don't see the growth model with getting the layman, the casual sports fan that's like, I'm not going to fall for this. If you're going to get me to fall for this, dig up Evander Holyfield or something like that. I think the next logical step in this tale is for him to finally get a title fight, and that'll be big. And that'll be a worthy hype train. He gets a title fight, and then he'll promptly get his ass kicked.
I'm with Mike. I watched the Tyson one. Didn't have any interest in the last one. It would have to be – I'll check it out. I'm interested in it and following it, but tuning into the fight, it's got to be another big
but
name.
you guys have this wrong, though. You have it wrong on a couple of fronts. One, when Mike says nobody's watching, you can't have Netflix Live Tyson that recently and tell me nobody's watching.
Yeah, we all watch that one.
Okay, but the other thing that I think that you have wrong is –
but did you watch any of the other fights leading up to that? No, you the one that stuck out was the one with Tyson, and there was a morbid curiosity.
I didn't even know the last one was happening.
He's had like 6 since he's lost, and I don't know how many of them have even garnered national attention.
This is the part that you have wrong, though, okay? You just skipped merrily past when you said he's got his legion of fans. he can get people outside of that. That's fine. But
I can't name another cruiserweight.
We are in the age. Go ahead and read that Tony 10-day Tony pod description again. We are in the age of brand management, marketing, and it's not merit-based. It's, do you have your own legion of fans, and can we stack on top of that? This is happening throughout the content industry. If you have a legion of fans in boxing, you're a spectacle.
Oh, I
if
understand.
you have such a thing, and this is how it is that he has climbed, and the fact that he's been legitimized by a top 15 ranking is insulting to any rankings that have ever been put forth in this sport.
I'm happy he exists because I like how he goes at Dana White. I like how he touts fair pay for fighters. I like what he does with some of the cards, especially when it comes to women's boxing and women's combat sports. I dig it. I think it is a spectacle, but I'm bored of it. I acknowledge the spectacle that it is. I will also tell you I've seen 3 of his fights and only one recently, and that's because I wanted to see if Mike Tyson was going to die in the ring or not.
I understand that you and Chris were bored, but you guys do understand a bit here that you've aged out. And so is Jake Paul. So is Jake Paul on where youth influence is. He also has been around long enough that he's aged out some with young people. But you do realize that as dads, you're not the demo.
No,
But young people's not boxing's demo.
Yeah, I think as dads we are supposed to be
I think I'm like
Boxing's
firmly
an old
in the
person
demo.
sport at this point.
You think Stugotz's daughters watched him fight Chavez Jr.?
I don't think so.
I'm saying that the demo that Jake Paul is bringing is a younger, different than boxing demo.
No doubt.
And that's why he's ranked number 14.
No doubt, but we're a sports show, and we've referenced a spectacle, and I'm running out of ways to talk about this guy. I'm grateful for this new evolution in it, for him to be ranked, and also part of me is hoping that, all right, can we be about done with that? Because I feel like we've done this for a long time.
So what's the play if you're Jake Paul, though? I don't think
You got to go to the top.
No, I don't think you fight one time, though. You think because you think you risk it all. It's an all or nothing bet. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to get exposed right now by fighting the best in one fight for one last punctuation spectacle.
Here's what I'm saying. I don't think he's ever going to have another opportunity to fight for a title, picking the fights that he did. Maybe he can keep climbing the rankings, fighting tomato cans that lose to Anderson Silva.
He can.
But if he wants to actually, like, at that point, I know it's boxing and he's already ranked, but this is a joke. If he's not actually gonna go through any other ranked boxers and just keep climbing because
then you got to fight number 1.
You got to go straight to
No,
number
but why
1.
would he do that? In boxing throughout history, what you do is you line up your guy who can't fight against tomato cans to continue to make the money. Stay ranked and don't ever get exposed. Just keep doing pay-per-view spectacles because all you are is a spectacle. You don't actually have to finally test it until you're done with the money train, until it's your last bet.
I actually think I can make an argument that no matter what happens, even if he gets his ass kicked in a title fight, the hype for him actually getting a legit title fight with the merit of actually being ranked will be an infusion into his brand, into the mainstream again of people that follow boxing. He loses that fight, gets his ass kicked by whoever the champion is. He can go right back, as he's already shown with the Tommy Fury loss, that he can go right back to fighting people that are related to more famous boxers.
I know you say you're getting tired of talking about it. What division is he again? Is it cruiserweight?
Cruiserweight.
Yeah, like, what other cruiserweights in the top 15 are you?
We're not talking about any of them.
Right.
What
so
other
that's
boxers
the point,
are you
right?
talking about?
Yeah.
So I know you're tired of talking about Jake Paul. You're not talking about any of them.
Well, how can I break down a fight of, like, all right, he's facing, Julio Cesar Chavez's grandson. I don't know. I'm not going to watch a fight. It's not doing anything for me. Mike
I think
Tyson,
it's more
okay,
about
cool,
you not
we'll
being a
do it.
huge boxing guy.
No, I like boxing fights. I like if you have a super heavyweight clash or if I pay attention to boxing Twitter, which I do, and they say, hey, this is a good fight, I watch boxing. If it's on, I like watching boxing. There hasn't been like big fights to get people excited for, but I grew up in a generation where you'd go to a house party.
Yes, me too.
There were great boxers in that era, and you would watch the fight. And
that
we are
time is long ago.
According to Tech Radar, 250,000 buys DAZN got for this recent Paul Chavez Jr. fight.
That feels unbelievable. 250,000, 250,000 people bought that Jake Paul fight.
Who else is on
DAZN.
the card? Like, it could have been.
No one else is on that card. No one else is being advertised. And they had obviously an undercard, but no one was being talked about there. Is that all Club World Cup? That just feels
according to Tech Radar, they don't actually release the buys, but that's
Okay, but Legion of Fans.
Wait,
again,
they don't release the
look,
buys,
you're
so they
not-
just made up the number?
Yes, they just
Tech
say the
Radar?
number. Yes.
A lot of
reports on
people do make up ratings these days. The ratings are less trustable than they have been in a long time in general. But you cannot say that Jake Paul does not have a legion of fans. Like
I don't think anyone said that. I said clearly he has his legion.
But there
of
they
fans.
are, right there, though, is what I'm saying. Anytime you can pop up on a pay-per-view,
I will eat a hat if 250,000 people bought that on DAZN. I will straight up eat a hat. Because where they're getting that number is straight from DAZN, and I don't believe it.
Well, go ahead and reach out to Skipper. He used to run DAZN, so go ahead and reach out.
And you know what
to
DAZN's going to say? 250,000 people are going to be like, okay, let me eat that hat.
Reach out to Skipper. He doesn't work for DAZN anymore. Maybe he will give
I
you
do believe I stand by that report.
They're not. That number is all internal. They're not going to release the actual number. All right. I don't. How did 250,000 people buy this fight individually and no one we know actually watched?
It costs $59.99.
I don't even know anyone in the YouTube chat that says,
I'll be honest, I don't know anyone that ordered it.
Okay, but you guys are dads.
I love who
I
you
work
have
in
ordering.
sports.
Chris is a Jake Paul demographic.
No,
man.
I think I would consider myself as somebody who has followed and been interested in this
Yes.
Jake Paul rise.
You are the prototypical Jake Paul
Thank you.
mark for buying this.
Don't young people have to ask their dad to buy it?
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Jake Paul's demo, 20 to 30 or 30 to 40 at Le Batard Show.
What are we arguing? That his fans are younger?
What I'm arguing is that Chris and Mike are bad people to be speaking on behalf of this because they're not actually the demo that would buy that pay-per-view.
Chat, if you bought it, let us know, please. Let us know if you bought this. I'm going to try to do a straw sample here.
Okay, again, though, I would say that it skews younger. Jake Paul is an influencer, or used to be an influencer. He was more popular before. He's lost some of that. But over the last 8 years, I would say that people who are Jake Paul fans are largely Jake Paul's age. I would say that after 40, a whole lot of people don't know anything about Jake Paul. Anything at all about Jake Paul because he's an internet phenomenon. He's not a phenomenon. He's a new kind of phenomenon. I shouldn't even say it's that new anymore. But
I don't know how I feel about you calling us old.
I'm out of it too. I'm out of the demo too. This isn't my demo. I've objected to this on the grounds that boxing is great and he isn't. Like, I'm offended that this is allowed to happen, even having seen it happen a bunch of times in boxing with just the big white guy who gets just thrown out there, and then all of a sudden he's a draw because somebody wants to see either the allowed racism of Mexicans against black people or white people against black people that we can celebrate as part of boxing and wrestling and some of the nonsense that we still hold on to.
Returns are still early in our straw poll here in the comments section. Not a single yes, I ordered this fight. But we have an older audience.
In fairness, someone did say they stole the fight. So that person saw it, but no one has ordered
That's
it.
why those random numbers show up, by the way, if you watch
second
stuff on DAZN.
Illegally streamed it.
I'm actually not sure that our audience would be the demo for Jake Paul in any way, given that you just gave praise for Jake Paul being progressive in some of the boxing stuff he did, but Jake Paul's past is littered with a bunch of stuff that's the opposite of that.
Dan, respectfully, we're sports fans that buy premium live events for big-time sporting events. We are the people he should be appealing to.
Okay, Mike, respectfully, Jake Paul.
Oh, I don't believe this is going to be respectfully. When you counter back respectfully,
This is
no,
respect
that's
off.
not.
I don't
That's not
believe your-
respectfully.
I don't believe your
respectfully. Like
was
you seem to know
respectful.
everything about our
I
audience.
don't believe you were
We're the people that buy
respectful.
this stuff.
How many Jake Paul fights have you bought?
I saw the Netflix one, and I saw the ones on Triller, and I saw the ESPN Plus one at a bar when he lost to Tommy Fury. So I think in all, probably in the neighborhood of 4. He's had close to a dozen of these. I'm not falling for it because it's not good or interesting to me. There have been a handful of times where it has been, and it's either a circus, part of a larger card. With the Triller stuff that was happening around the pandemic was hilarious, or I think he's actually going to lose. I would like to see him fight and go through the promotion for a big-time title fight, and I actually think he'll come out a winner no matter what there, because it is a winning story. It is basically a YouTuber Rocky type of story. I think his celebrity will grow, and I think it'll give an infusion to him doing this sideshow attraction he does on the side after he promptly gets his ass kicked.